Distinguished colleagues, I now put the questions, starting with the schedules. Schedule A, statutory transfers. Schedule A, statutory transfer, National Judicial Council, Niger Delta Development Commission, Universal Basic Education, National Assembly, Public Complaints Commission, INEC, National Human Rights Commission, total statutory transfer. The total sum of 502,858,892,965 naira for the head of total statutory transfer stands part of schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Schedule Part B, debt service, domestic debt, foreign debt, subtotal 2,144,014,113,082. That this sum naira for the head of Part B debt service of schedule stands part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Sinking fund to retire maturing loans, subtotal 110 billion. Those in favor that this naira stands part of Schedule B. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the sum of 2,254,014,113,092 naira for the head of Part B debt service stands as part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Part C, Schedule C, recurrent non-debt expenditure. Executive, Presidency, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, Ministry of Interior, Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Auditor General for the Federation, Ministry of Communication and Technology, Office of the National Security Advisor, Infrastructure Concessionary Regulatory Commission, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Federal Ministry of Finance, Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, Federal Ministry of Transport, Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, Ministry of Budget and National Planning, National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission, Fiscal Responsibility Commission, Federal Ministry of Water Resources, Federal Ministry of Justice, Independent Corruption Practices and Related Offences Commission, Ministry of Niger Delta Services, Federal Ministry of Youth and Sport Development, Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Federal Ministry of Education, Federal Ministry of Health, Federal Ministry of Environment, National Population Commission. Subtotal of the executive as 2,846,860,857,330 for head of the executive stands part of the Schedule C. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. There's a Federal Executive Bodies, Code of Conduct Bureau, Code of Conduct Trial, Federal Character Commission, Federal Civil Service Commission, Public Police Service Commission, Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Subtotal for Federal Executive Bodies 9,839,782,930 naira for head of subtotal Federal Executive Body stands part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. Yes, aye. Pension gratuity and retires benefit 528,067,517,289 stands part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. Yes, have it. Office of the Head of Civil Service Civilian Pension, 30,691,13,524 naira stands part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Military pensions and gratuities, 196,176,233,061 stands part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. NHIS military retirees, 9,524,923,546 stands part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. DIA civilian staff pension gratuities, 240,552,551 stands part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Police pension and gratuities, pension 7,412,463,652 stands part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Customs, Immigration and Prison Pension Office pension, 8,422,000,000. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Universities pension including arrears pension, 14,343,326,479. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Parastatals pension and railway pensions, pensions of 26,756,754,031 naira stands part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Pre-1996 Nigeria Railway Corporation pension, 2,257,298,262 naira. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Department of State Security pensions including arrears, 13,733,344,574. Those in favor of this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Nigeria Intelligence Agency pension dependents benefits, 3,709,146,567. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. NEMCO, 16,642,621,229. Those in favor that this stands part of the say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Arrears of pension liabilities, 10 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Arrears of 33% increase in pension rates, 50 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Payment into redemption fund, 5% of total pension personnel cost, 73,995,745,200 naira. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Pension protection fund, 10 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Payment benefits of retired heads of service and permanent secretaries and professors, 4,502,491,809. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Severance benefits to retired heads of government agencies and parastatals, 1 billion. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Entitlements of former presidents, head of states and vice president, chief of general staff, 2 billion 300 million. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Payment of outstanding terminal benefits of Nigeria Airways ex-workers, 682,832,166 naira. Those in favor of this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Severance gratuity for outgoing legislators and legislative aides, allowances for incoming legislators and legislative aides, and induction programs to inauguration of the 9th Assembly. Stand at 23,678,770,078. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Other service-wide votes, 971 billion, 172 million, 226,134. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. There is a payment of outstanding debt benefit to civil servants to police, 5 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. There is a group life insurance for all MDAs, including DSS insurance of sensitive assets, corpus plus administrative monitoring, 15 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. There is a public service wage adjustment for MDAs, including arrears of promotion and salary increases and payments of severance benefits, 160 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Military operations, Lafia Doli and other operations of the armed forces, 75 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Settlement of MDA's electricity bills, 5 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. IPPS is capturing 2 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Payment for outsourced services, 2.5 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Margin for increases in cost and recurrent adjustment costs, 4 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Presidential Amnesty Program reintegration of transformed ex-militants, 65 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Service-wide training of budget planning officers and gift MIS budget preparation system, BPS, as well as monitoring and evaluation of all projects nationwide, 2 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. There's a special intervention program recurrent, 350 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. There's a contingency recurrent, 15 billion, 800 million. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. There is a international sporting competitions, 4 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. There is a TSC operations, 4 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Employee Compensation Act, Employees Compensation Fund, 4 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Contribution to international organizations, 20 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Power sector reform program transferred to INVET, 150 billion, 402 million, 49,347 naira. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Gavi and immunization, 21 billion, 250 million, 424,823 naira. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Basic health care fund, 51 billion, 219 million, 751,964 naira. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Additional support for universities, 15 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Then, in line with the recommendation as read by the chairman, we had an additional item there, 10 billion for victims of Zamfara. What do we term it, Chairman? What do you term the Zamfara? Yeah, what is it? Yeah, what do we describe it? What's the terminology? What?
We can say presidential initiative on Zamfara. Presidential initiative on Zamfara. 171, 172. What do you want?
presidential initiative on victims in Zamfara, 10 billion. Those in favor? Yeah.
It's not appropriate. Let me suggest that federal government intervention on Zamfara, because this consists of us and them rather than presidential. Federal government intervention on Zamfara.
Yeah, so federal government intervention in Zamfara crisis, 10 billion. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Total CRFL charges of 1,499,239,743,423 naira. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, Senator Binta, observation.
Sir, two issues. Even if we're including the 10 billion there, it's supposed to be 1.5, not 1.4. But again, sir, if you looked at the special intervention on 98, the special intervention program there is 350 billion. I was expecting if we are going to still maintain the 1.4 billion, we just put 340 billion there, then 10 billion for the federal government intervention. Then it comes to 1.4. But if we are like here, then obviously it's 1.5.
By 10 billion.
So inside we have to deduct 10 billion from special intervention to 340, then 10 billion for the intervention.
And the budget side remains the same. Your mic.
Yeah, I think don't forget that we are also working with the House. I think there's a common position that has been taken by appropriation. Yes, Chairman, appropriation.
Mr. Chairman, like you said, we have agreed on the House put it that way. If we now do our own differently, we have to go into conference. That will be there. In any case, the federal government intervention program has been consistently put at 500 billion. And I think it will not be advisable for the Senate in the last budget of this January to just change this. The federal government is actually expected to get 500 billion. I strongly advise that we keep that 500 billion and actually put the 10 billion separately so that we don't confuse the two programs.
Just slight correction. Can I put the question again on total CRFL charges as 1,509,239,743,423 naira? Sounds part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Total recurring non-debt will now reach 4,065,940,383,684 naira. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Part D, capital expenditure. Capital expenditure, Part D, Executive, Presidency, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Information and Culture, Ministry of Interior, Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, Auditor General of the Federation. I will take it. Auditor General of the Federation, Ministry of Communication Technology, Office of National Security Advisor, Infrastructure Concessionary Regulatory Commission, Office of the Secretary of the Government of the Federation, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Federal Ministry of Finance, Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, Federal Ministry of Transportation, Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing, Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Ministry of Mines and Steel and Development, Ministry of Budget and National Planning, National Salaries, Incomes and Wage Commission, Fiscal Responsibility Commission, Federal Ministry of Water Resources, Federal Ministry of Justice, Independent Corrupt Practices and Related Affairs Commission, Federal Capital Territory Administration, Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, Federal Ministry of Youth Sports Development, Federal Ministry of Water Women Affairs, Federal Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Federal Ministry of Environment, National Population Commission, subtotal executive 1,443,106,943,083 naira. Those in favor of this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Federal Executive Body, Code of Conduct, Code of Bureau, Code of Conduct Tribunal, Federal Character Commission, Federal Civil Service Commission, Police Service Commission, Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Subtotal of Federal Executive Body is 2,627,985,693. Stands part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Capital supplementation, Federal Special Intervention Program Capital, Federal Special Intervention Program, Social Housing Family Homes Fund, counterpart funding including Global Fund Health and Gavi Global Fund, payment of local contractors, debts and other liabilities, Galaxy Backbone, Gifts, IPSI Capital, OSAP, SDG, Special Project Conditional Grants, OSAP, SDG's payment of ongoing projects, OSSAP's SDG Social Safety Net, OSSAP SDG Social SDG Project 1, OSSAP's SDG's SDG Project 2, OSSAP SDG SDG Project 3, recapitalization of development finance institution, Northeast Intervention Fund, Zonal Intervention Projects, Head of Service Federal Government State Housing Loans Project, subscription to shares in international organization, National Development Plans, Minister of Budget and National Planning, capital exigencies, adjustment to capital cost, contingency capital, grants and donor funded projects, Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, grants to BOI to support low interest lending to SMEs, National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, total capital supplementation, 649,215,780,857 naira. Stands part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those. Yep.
Before you put the question, I just want a clarification. The item 161, Northeast Intervention Fund. What exactly does that mean? Is it meant for the Northeast Development Commission or is going to another organization?
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Northeast Intervention Fund is meant to be utilized by the Northeast newly established Northeast Development Commission. No, you see, because when they brought this budget, when the party was what sessions with the Minister of Budget and the Share Plan, they insisted that we should leave it as it is, but the other is going to the Northeast Development Commission. But this House, this Senate can change it, and so we left you to change it. But if you change it, then we have to also change it in the House.
Yes, leader.
Mr. Chairman, we must be very explicit. There should be no room for any manipulation. Even if it is at the risk of taking with House, we better put the appropriate name there, Northeast Development Commission. Otherwise, someone somewhere will go and take money from this and we will have nothing to do because we would have failed in taking the right decision. So I suggest that if it is possible, we discuss, we talk, in fact, immediately with the House that they reflect the same thing. Let it be Northeast Development Commission. Thank you.
Yes, Senator Jimmy.
I agree with the observation or suggestion made by the leader. And in addition to that, Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, last year, in the same budget, it was the same amount of 45 billion that was allocated or appropriated to Northeast Development Commission. This is a last-minute appeal. Mr. President, it is on record that the destruction inflicted on the Northeast, in fact, Borno State alone, is calculated by international bodies to be $9.2 billion. That translates to over 22.7 trillion naira. Mr. President, we are grateful for the allocation of 45, but I'm appealing that that figure should be rounded up to 60. This is a last-minute appeal.
But you might, please, yeah, make some progress. I think the general concession is that just for clarity, we should make that Northeast Commission fund. So if you can quickly, Chairman Patricia, you can send somebody across to the House as well, so that while they too are considering, they can, on the name for the Northeast Intervention Fund to serve it, not, yeah, Isa Mr. can go. I think that Northeast,
But if I'm to do it, I must do it now because they are also currently.
that should be now. That's the point I'm saying, that should be now, so that before they conclude their own exercise. So, yeah. Any other observations before? Yes, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President. Still on the issue of this 10 billion naira that was added to the service-wide goods. Mr. President, my own clarification is this. This money is just being introduced into this report. Secondly, if this is just being introduced, the aggregate expenditure will go up to 8.16 trillion. That is my own observation.
Yeah, you were not here when we discussed it this morning. So I think that's why you're raising, we had looked at all these issues at that point. So it wasn't introduced now. We had discussed it earlier before we started considering this. Yeah. When we go to the long title, we'll do that. Oh, okay. Observations, Senator Guy.
Thank you, Mr. President. On this particular matter, on the issue of Northeast Intervention Fund, so we agree that should be converted to Northeast Development Commission. And for every commission, it has a recurrent and a capital expenditure. This one is only catching, or is only covering the capital expenditure. What about the recurrent expenditure of the commission? It's not captured in the recurrent issue. It's not captured.
Senator Guy, I think that observation, all we can do today is to note it. I don't think. So I go back to, I think all we changed was nomenclature, so the figures still remain the same. So, so total capital supplementation, as I said, 649,250,780,857 stands part of the. What's 167? Go ahead, yeah.
Because it's just contingency capital and it's 10 billion naira. How are you not sure that this is not that of the Zamfara that is good? Because it's open-ended. It is not tied to anything. Contingency 10 billion. So I don't know. I'm just probably the chairman could explain what is this 10 billion naira contingency capital.
Yeah, it's noted. Total capital supplementation 649,215,780,857 naira stands part of the schedule. Those who say aye, those against say nay. The ayes have it. Total capital expenditure 2,094,950,709,632 naira. Those in favor that this stands part of the schedule say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Aggregate expenditure 8,916,964,099,373 naira stands part of this schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We now go to the 13 clauses. The 13 clauses. Clause 1, those in favor of clause 1 as amended, that is 8,916,964,099,373 naira stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of clause 2 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that clause 3 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that clause 4 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that clause 5 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that clause 6 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that clause 7 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that clause 8 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that clause 9 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that clause 10 and 11 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. And those in favor that clause 12 and 13 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the explanatory memorandum on page 11, again as amended, reflecting the 8,916,964,099,373 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that short title page 4 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of the long title on page 2, again as amended, showing the 8,964,999,373. No, it's not the current. Yes. And also the 4,940,383,684 naira as amended stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator Adiola. Leader of the Senate. Information here.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I want to inform you that the two issues raised on this budget have been communicated with the House, and they are going to adopt the same thing. So there will be no need for any harmonization conference committee. The Zamfara intervention fund will be captured by them, and the change from those intervention funds to the Development Commission will also be effected there.
Leader of the Senate.
Chairman, very distinguished colleagues, I move that the Senate reverse to plenary for the charge report progress.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion as moved.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, point of order, leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I move that we suspend our order 13 to enable the Senate seat beyond 2 p.m.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion as moved.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion for extension of time say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of Supply consider the report of the Committee of Appropriation on the 2019 Appropriation Bill and approved as follows. Schedule Part A, statutory transfer as recommended. Part B, debt service as recommended. Part C, recurrent no debt expenditure as amended. Part D, capital expenditure as amended. Clauses 1 as amended, clauses 2 to 12 as recommended, explanatory memorandum as amended, short title as recommended, long title as amended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I move that the bill be now read the third time.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion as moved.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the bill be now read third time say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, the total sum of 8,916,964,099,373 naira only, of which 522,892,965 naira only is for statutory transfers. 2,254,113,113,092 naira only is for debt service. 4,065,940,383,684 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 2,994,709,632 naira only is for contribution to the Development Fund for capital expenditure for the year ending on the 31st day of December 2019, third reading.
A bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation of the total sum of 8,916,964,099,373 naira only, of which 502,058,892,965 naira only is for statutory transfers. 2,254,014,113,092 naira only for debt service. 4,065,940,383,684 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 2,094,909,632 naira only is for the contribution to the Development Fund for capital expenditure for the year ending on the 31st day of December 2019, third reading. The bill is read the third time and passed. I want to thank our colleagues, particularly for their understanding and being able for us to be able to meet today's deadline in passing the bill, and thank the committee to appropriation, and hope that with this budget passed that the executive will also ensure a full implementation of the budget for the benefit of Nigerians as a whole.